Welcome to the deep dive. All right, if you're like me, you probably think you have a handle on how sunlight works. You know, it hits your skin, you get warm, maybe some vitamin D, simple stuff. But I want you to start this deep dive with a really bizarre image. What if I told you that scientists have actually measured light traveling through your entire body? I'm talking bones, organs, everything. And it comes out the other side. Like your torso is just some slightly murky window.
It sounds like something out of science fiction, doesn't it? But that's exactly what the physics shows. And it's really the core of what we need to get into today. See, the human body isn't just a solid block. It has these very specific windows for certain kinds of light.
For windows?
Yeah, specifically for light with long wavelengths.
But we're basically translucent to light we can't even see.
Precisely. We're talking about the infrared spectrum.
Wow.
And the magic number is right around 850 nanometers. It's a wavelength that's completely invisible to your eyes, but it passes right through your tissue. It might be the most essential and most ignored nutrient on the planet.
Okay, so that's our mission today. We need to figure out how this invisible messenger works, why it matters so much to our internal machinery.
And what modern habits we have accidentally adopted that are filtering it out completely.
Right.
To really get it, you have to look inside the cell. I mean, right down to where the energy is actually made. The mitochondria.
The power plants.
Exactly. They are your cellular power plants. Their whole job is to take electrons from the food you eat and convert them into ATP.
Adenosine triphosphate.
The energy currency that runs every single thought, every movement, everything you do.
Okay, but hold on. I eat food, I get electrons. Why do I need light? Why can't my power grid just run on, I don't know, steak and coffee?
Because it's not just about fuel, it's about efficiency.
Yeah.
ATP is made in this really complex process called the electron transport chain. The best way to think about it is like the Colorado River. The water is the electron, and it's starting from a really high energy state.
Okay, I'm with you.
And that river flows through a series of huge hydro dams. Those are the turbines, the energy that's created by the water falling through those dams. Well, that gets captured to generate electricity.
And that electricity is my ATP.
You got it. The falling water generates the power.
So if the electrons are the waterfall, what is the infrared light actually doing?
So the theory, and it's a strong one, is that infrared light doesn't just charge the system. It's more like a phenomenal lubricant. It makes that entire electron transport chain more efficient.
Like greasing the turbines.
Exactly. It's like greasing those massive hydro turbines so they spin with almost no resistance. You get way more power, more ATP from the exact same amount of fuel.
That makes perfect sense on a local level for that one cell. But does that benefit just stay there? Or can that upgrade travel to other parts of the body?
And that's what's truly revolutionary. It travels. This brings us to something called the abscopal effect.
Which is just a fancy way of saying?
Working remotely.
Okay, I have to stop you because the study you're talking about is just wild. Researchers took this 850 nanometer light and they shone it on people's bodies with these LED panels. But get this. They covered the subjects' heads, completely blocked any light from getting to their eyes.
Right. No light to the retina. And yet their visual function, their perception of color, it's still improved. The mitochondrial function in their eyes was upregulated.
Wait. So light on my leg can somehow fix my eye?
Yeah.
That's a remote repair job. How does that even work? It sounds like magic.
It does. But the thinking is this is where the body's kind of hidden communication system kicks in. One hypothesis is that the mitochondria themselves, or maybe molecules related to them, get energized and then they become free-floating in the bloodstream.
Like little repair drones.
Exactly. Tiny repair drones carrying those benefits to distant organs like the retina, which is incredibly sensitive.
Wow.
And what's fascinating is this connects directly to one of our most important protective molecules, melatonin.
Ah, the sleep hormone, the little pill we all take an hour before bed, hoping for the best.
Right, but that's just one part of the story. Melatonin is also produced locally, right inside the mitochondria, and it happens to be an incredibly potent antioxidant.
More powerful than glutathione.
Potentially, yes. Think of this local melatonin as the cell's internal cooling system. When the cell's engine runs hard, it creates oxidative stress-like cellular exhaust.
Okay.
Melatonin is right there on site to mop up that exhaust and prevent damage.
So the same infrared light that greases the turbines to make more energy also tells the cell to produce more of the cooling system to handle the extra work. That's a perfect self-regulating system.
It is. The infrared light is believed to stimulate the mitochondria to produce more of this local protective melatonin. It adds this deep layer of repair that penetrates your whole body, completely separate from what your pineal gland is doing for sleep.
Okay, this is all great. But I have to ask the obvious question. Do I need to go drop a few $1,000s on some fancy red light panel to get this?
Yeah.
Because that feels very modern and very expensive.
Not at all. I mean, you can, but if the goal is just getting more infrared, we can go to the original source,
The sun.
the sun. And here's the great part. Unlike UVB, which you need the sun high overhead to make vitamin D, infrared light penetrates the atmosphere much better. You get plenty of it, even when the sun is low in the sky.
So the world's best health device is still free. But there's a secret environmental boost to this, isn't there? Something most of us are missing.
Yes, the secret of green spaces. And this is totally counterintuitive. Green trees, leaves, grass, they are exquisitely reflective of infrared light. They bounce back almost 90% of it.
That's why they don't catch on fire on a hot day.
Exactly. They're actively rejecting that infrared heat, reflecting that energy all around.
So if I'm standing in a park, I'm not just getting sunlight from above. I'm literally being bathed in this beneficial reflected infrared light from every single angle.
That is the key. And we have an amazing large-scale study that proves the benefit of this. Tell us about the Green Heart study.
I love this one. It's so elegant. Scientists went to South Louisville, Kentucky. Classic urban sprawl, lots of concrete. And they measured something called HCRP in hundreds of residents.
It's a blood marker that's highly correlated with your risk for stroke and heart attack.
Right, so they get the baseline. Then, over a couple of years, they planted 8,000 mature trees in a 4-square-mile area.
Yeah.
And they told the residents, don't change anything. Not your diet, not your exercise, nothing.
A purely environmental intervention.
And the results were just stunning. After the trees grew in, they measured HCRP again. They found an average drop of 13 to 20%.
Which is huge. That kind of reduction translates to maybe a 10 to 15% reduction in actual strokes and heart attacks.
With no pills, no diets, no gym memberships. They just surrounded people with green space, maximizing their natural infrared exposure.
That's the power of free light.
It is. But now let's talk about the problem. How our modern lives actively sabotage this system. Because it's not just what we're missing outside, it's what we're doing inside. And it all boils down to timing.
Light is fundamentally a timing mechanism for your body. You need a really strong, bright spike of light, ideally natural sunlight early in the day. That's the starting gun for your body's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That spike triggers a strong cortisol signal.
Cortisol, which is the body saying, wake up, get moving, the day has started. But if I commute underground, or I spend my morning just looking at my phone indoors, I get a really wimpy signal.
And a wimpy morning signal means a weak circadian rhythm all day. You're constantly playing catch-up, and by the time you actually want to sleep, your clock is confused. You have cortisol still floating around, competing with the melatonin that's trying to rise.
And then comes the ultimate betrayal. Nighttime clock sabotage. Your master clock is unbelievably sensitive at night. If it sees bright light, any bright light, it makes a hilariously stubborn assumption that it must still be daytime.
And it immediately delays melatonin secretion. So instead of being ready for bed at 10 p.m., your clock is now set for 1 a.m.
This is why you have to be ruthless about light in the bedroom.
Non-negotiable.
It's time to go on an LED rampage. I'm serious. Black tape, sticky notes, whatever it takes. Cover those infuriating little pinpricks of light. The clock radio, the charging light, the TV standby light. Every photon matters.
It's true. Even red light, which a lot of people think is safe at night, is absolutely not as good as total pitch black darkness.
Okay, so let's talk about shift workers. For them, this timing issue is a nightmare. Your central clock might try to adjust, but your gut, your stomach, your intestines, it has its own separate clock.
A peripheral clock. And when a shift worker eats a big meal in the middle of the night, it sends this huge, confusing signal to that gut clock.
The clocks are out of sync.
Completely out of sync. And that dissonance is what's believed to drive so many metabolic problems like diabetes and hypertension in that group.
So what was the simple fix they found? Because it has to be simple.
The researchers couldn't believe it. The study showed that workers who just followed one rule, do not eat during the night shift, only eat during the day, they reduced their metabolic issues by 80 to 90%.
80 to 90%.
An almost unbelievable number. It just proves that timing can be more important than content.
Wow. Okay, finally, we have to point the finger at the historical reason we're all so light-deprived indoors.
Mm.
We have to blame bureaucracy and efficiency engineers.
It's a simple trade-off, really. When Congress pushed for energy efficiency, engineers looked at the old incandescent bulb. It produces this beautiful, full-spectrum light, tons of beneficial infrared.
But the engineers saw that infrared and called it wasteful energy because you can't see it. It doesn't contribute to brightness.
Exactly. So modern LEDs, halogens, they were all specifically designed to filter out that beneficial, warming, mitochondrial boosting infrared light, all in the name of lumens per watt. We're even building houses with low-E glass that filters out the very light that could be healing us.
Just to save a few bucks on AC. It's the perfect modern paradox. We've processed our light just as much as we've processed our food, and we're paying the price.
The takeaway for you is pretty clear. Natural light exposure is this new, easily accessible nutrient. Studies are showing that just 15 minutes of natural infrared a day can make a significant difference in how your cells function.
But we live inside 93% of the time.
Yeah.
We go from the garage to the car to the office and back. We almost never see the full, unprocessed spectrum of the sun.
We have engineered nature right out of our lives. We really need to start recognizing the difference between good light and processed light.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on.
Yeah.
The research showed that people who were totally blind, people with severed optic nerves who could secrete a full dose of melatonin every single night without any interference from artificial light, they had 30% lower cancer rates. So what hidden, profound health benefits are we actively shutting down just because we insist on leaving that little lamp or that infuriating LED on late at night? Time to step back into the dark and see what happens.